Welcome everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to the tomb of EL-lumination. Everything's about physics here, namely flat earth physics. But it doesn't matter if you're a flat earther or a glober, I'm about to show you something you've never been taught. Okay, so bear with me. Now, many people who think they know a bit about physics may understand the two half spins, the two cycles of an electron. Well, in our flat earth system, we have these representations, and like I've said many times before in my videos, that physics is connected to religion. Religion is actually telling you the physics of our earth. Okay, so what we have here is one cycle down to there. One cycle down to there is this cycle here. This is a golden ratio. Two golden ratios create the cardanoid. Okay, cardanoid. So there's a plan view. This is a side view. So there's a 2D view, you could say, from the top, a plan view. But this is a 3D view from the side. Well, this is a 2D from the side in this image, obviously. But it does a 3D cycle because back at the center of creation in our flat earth system, we have the central vortex of creation. You can't describe all this stuff properly if you think you live on the outside of a spinning ball. If you think you do, you're actually brain dead, but you don't know it. Okay? So you've got to understand flat earth physics to understand this whole realm, where you've come from, where you're going. So we have one 360 degree cycle around here, believe it or not. That's a 360 degree cycle, if you can think of it, the 3D vortex. So whatever goes down has to come back up, or vice versa. Whatever goes up has to come back down. Okay, so we know that with our in our realm, everything falls back to the plane of inertia or seeks its resting state. You know, we've known this for hundreds of millions of years. Man has been here for hundreds of millions of years because Earth does not exist without man's consciousness. So you can dream it started last week if you want, or 5 billion years ago. It doesn't matter. What I was going to say, so this falling back to the resting state, or the plane of inertia, is Newton's first law of motion, isn't it? All he's done is he's taken ancient information, and because they're British and they ruled the world, they've rewritten history as though they discovered it just a few hundred years ago, Just this total BS. So okay, so everything falls back to its resting state or plane of inertia unless something comes along and pushes it or affects it. Okay. So what we have here is the two half cycles of an electron. And what happens here is over the month, the moon does this 2 360 cycles. It comes right out to full moon, and then goes back into new moon. So I'll just draw that. So this is how the ancients drew the model. This is your full moon down here, and they drew 8 cycles, which is quite funny, isn't it? Because you got a figure 8 here, and what happens in here? In there is the number 9. Number 9, divine number, where it starts again. So you see the cycle goes around, gets in here, starts again. So they drew 8 phases out here. So you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 there. 5, 6. Okay, so maybe it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it must be that way. So the 8 phases. Okay, like this. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then around here is 9. This is 2.2 days, okay, in here. The moon comes in here for 2.2 days with the sun. Now, it's not quite to scale. I could improve on that. Let's have a go. More like that. Do it nicer. Okay, more like that. And this here represents the Milky Way. Centralized. So you've got to understand the full moon ends up at one end of the Milky Way across the 2D plane. So if you were to look at my flat earth plan, that's the center of the vortex. So the dead center here represents the black hole. That's the black hole of creation there. Nothing goes in there. Well, this is illuminated, the illuminated spot, because the sun sits on the horizon of the black hole, right? The sun is always on the horizon of the black hole. So you can say put the sun here at this moment of time, but this whole cycle moves around the black hole center. This is the center black hole. All the friction is around the horizon of the black hole. That's what creates life. So this frozen moment in time, the sun, the moon is in here together. But they all come out slightly different, in a different position. The cycles of time are always moving. So here's a cycle here, and the moon keeps the cycles of time, while the sun keeps time. Okay? So this is funny, isn't it? They create these 8 phases, and there's your figure 8. And there's number 9 at the top. 9. So now, okay, so there's the Milky Way. That represents the Milky Way, and inside the Milky Way is when the sun and moon are together at new moon. So this is new moon in here. Okay, there's full moon. It's at the other end of the Milky Way. Okay, because if we draw the plane, the ecliptic plane, which is circular, the black hole's at the center, you got all the concentric circles of the planets. They are concentric circles, we just see them in elliptic type motions from our angle. But the Milky Way, well, the rest of the Milky Way is down here, right? If you want to draw the center vortex of creation, you got one half the Milky Way comes across, lays across the plane like this. And the other half goes down into the vortex. This is the female half. This is the male half. So this is where we get full moon out here. But the moon is actually in the vortex, but it's aligning up with the outermost area of the ecliptic plane. That's what a plane, the ecliptic plane. It's the true ecliptic plane that flexes up and down over the year. Down and up. And that's the sun analemma cycle. The flexing of the ecliptic plane is the flexing of the diaphragm, which moves the whole field. The magnetic compression, contraction and expansion. That's what changes the season. So there's the Milky Way, which is the centre. So you've got to realise there's the black hole. There's the black hole. The core of the black hole is the Milky Way. So there's no Sagittarius. You don't point to Sagittarius A in the night sky and say, oh, there's the black hole. No. Because the entire Milky Way represents the black hole, the cave, which is the dragon, the fire-breathing dragon, because the sun is in there. The sun is in there, right there. The actual pure plasma sun of creation is in there. We just see it out this end of the Milky Way between the two hemispheres, the tropical celestial gap. That's where our image is supposedly created. That's how we have to imagine it. Created through the dielectric and magnetic induction and everything between the two hemispheres. So this is just the northern hemisphere sky here. Again, out south is all mirrored all the way around. It's another long story. So what we have is the new moon is right in here with the sun, lined up with the sun at new moon. And the other end of the Milky Way is the full moon. Okay, so there's your full moon at this end of the Milky Way, and up here on this end is the new moon in here, going around with the sun for 2.2 days before it comes out again. And the sun comes out with it, but the sun races ahead. And then the sun does two cycles. It's going around every day. You've got to realise it's this thing going on over the month. But over the cycle, one monthly cycle, the sun has done two to catch up to the moon again, where they meet, in here at the number 9. It's the divine spot. Okay? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8 times 3.69. 8 9 to 72. 6 8 to 48, 55. 3 8 to 24, 29. Look at that. That's a month. That's a full moon to full moon. Okay? Full moon to full moon. And there's Tesla's numbers, right? Tesla. And what did he say about the numbers 369? You'll find the keys to the universe. I've found the keys to the universe. Nobody else. Nobody knows really what that means. And it's the same thing as the Christian cross. And look what you've got here. That's basically what you've got. You've got the cross here. You can see the cross up here at the number 9. It goes a bit deeper than that. Then you've got to come back and go to the figure 8 we all know about, and this is the sun's analemma. That's a horrible one, isn't it? That's more like it. Only my Patreons understand all this stuff. Get it to scale. And this is Plato's unequal divided line, basically. There's a 3 to 2 here, supposedly. Phi ratio. I usually go 3 phi. That's how I like to look at it. Times 2 phi. Now this point here, at the sun's crossing, is what this represents. And this, because you've got the northern hemisphere here, there's the north, there's the south, this represents the south. Okay? Wow. No, don't think of that as the south. I shouldn't have done that. In this situation, no. It's just the one southern cycle. There's your north and there's your, could say there's your south. There's your south. Where are we going with this? So a particular time of the year, this point here, right there, is called the Esoteric. Okay? And this is what all religion's about. How they draw the mirror, the oval mirror. The oval mirror with Mary in it. Mary represents the moon, or Maria, and it goes back to the Greek sound. It's slightly different looking, but it boils down to the same sound, Maria, and it's ma. I forget what it is. But there's Ra in the word as well. You know, you've got Ra, the sun, moon. It's the sun and moon connection in this particular cycle. But I can't think of that at the moment. Anyway, Episcopus. And this is a divine spot, what all religion is all about. And this is why the Egyptians have this, because they know it too. They've given us all the hints. They've described the whole thing, and I've decoded it all. So I understand all that. And this is in association to the fact that, it's related to the fact that the southern hemisphere revolves around the northern hemisphere. Look, it revolves around the northern hemisphere and it moves this way for declination, which changes the sun in the tropical year, moves the sun in and out over the tropical year. At some point you're going to get the oval spot here, called the Vesicapiscus. And at that point there, you want to have Mary in there. Your Mary, your moon sign. So to understand all this, you have to come to my Patreon page, because I don't just blurt it all out all over the internet for ignorant people. Only those who are seeking the truth will find the truth over on my Patreon site. And the powers that be don't want you to understand this stuff or even see my videos. So very few get to see the videos. So very few come to my Patreon site. So very few get to wake up and find the meaning of life. So what else can I say? So when it comes to physics, there's your cycles, because it's all to do with the S curve within inside the vortex. And this is the microcosm. We live in the macro. Micro, right at the center, has been blown out. Get rid of that pen. Has all been blown out to form our realm, and there's the plane of inertia. Everything falls back to the plane of inertia, or its resting state. Above Earth we have all the layers, inert gaseous layers, because it's all based on pressure. We're under pressure. Highest pressure is here on Earth, right? So the gases find their level of equilibrium And these levels of pressure here are represented in the celestial bodies this way. The plane of their own inertia are the planets. This way, on the top of the vortex, back in the central Arctic of creation. So when we see the stars and planets at night, this is how they're set up in their respective states of equilibrium. And under the Earth, you've got seven layers up here of pressure, reducing pressure. But you got 7 layers of compaction. It's opposite. It's always this mirrored effect going on. You've got these 7 layers here. But the thing is, and then you've got each of these 7 layers breaks down to 7 of their own layers within their 7. And those 7 have their own 7 layers broken down within their 7. So it breaks on down like a Mandelbrot. Same thing. So this is the realm we live in. We live on this plane of inertia here. And like the Bible says, man is of the earth. Okay? We're of the earth. This is our resting state. The plane of inertia. Okay? This is the macrocosm. And it's dual. Okay? It's the atom. Atom is dual. See, people just draw Earth as being this toroidal sphere that looks a bit like this. Blah, 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 blah. But no one's drawing the duality of our realm. The southern field and the northern field. There's a dual system going on. This is only found on my channel or with my Patreons. Okay, all the ancients knew everything way before we did. Because we've been here for so long, we just keep going through cycles, and our brains are starting to wake up now. And if you've got a brain, you'll know that the elites running the system are probably, I won't go there, but anyway, they know the whole system. They know what all these frequency bands are. They know how to manipulate them. They know how to manipulate our brain, because our brain is attached to these frequencies. You know, all these frequencies are connected to colour, sound and images. You know, you've got some sites that have taken photos of the sun using filters, and they've recently discovered, it looks like a wheat field. Well, the ancients knew it looked like a wheat field. All of religion is about wheat, bread. Don't you think? They know. They can manipulate all this. They can manipulate your brain. They can use sound to blow your brains out, whatever. And then you hear recently what the Americans did in Venezuela when they went in and got Maduro in Caracas there. They used frequency weapons and subdued the opposition. Anyway, if you like this sort of thing, head on over to my Patreon site. You can find it here. You go patreon.com/meta369, or just voice into your phone Patreon Lindsay Harris or Tomb of Illumination. You should find it somewhere. Come and join the club. Only the wise people end up staying there for a while, because they start to understand and realise, I know what I'm talking about. You won't get anywhere else. So you have to go join saints or higher, because all the information, if you go sovereign or what's the other one, floodgates, it's all there. Otherwise you can start at saints, which might be too much for you. Initially, if you're not understanding any of this, you might want to start off down there in the cardioid. Cardials? That's 10 Kiwi a month. Saints is 20 Kiwi a month, and then it steps up from there. So anyway, I just thought I'd show you guys that. Might see you over on the site. Cheers.